Hey, what's going on, guys? So I got one of my clients here, Charlie Hutchinson. We're going to be talking about forward momentum in the initial move, and we're going to compare him with Josh Hader. But this kind of hits home for me too, just because in my development, I was always kind of taught, head over the back side, don't really move forward until you reach the peak of your leg lift. Give the arm, as much time as it needs by separating, essentially in this circle, in this box. And we're seeing now that, how much acceleration into the drive phase plays a huge part in throwing velocity, right? So we're going to be looking here at his initial move. You'll notice that he doesn't really have any acceleration going forward until this moment descending from peak leg lift into his drive phase. Okay, so what we're seeing here is just a limited amount of forward momentum and acceleration. So now he's having to generate all of this acceleration from his force production to the ground, which he does a good job of in that drive leg stability. And now we're having to get down the mound. So you're also going to notice with him is that his arm path, his hand path have this, what I call like this early arm raise. Okay, so his scap retraction occurs a little high, pretty much right here. You're going to see that the elbow above the shoulder, hand in line with the elbow, potentially could be a red flag. We talk about inverted W, but typically we don't really mess with that until we see guys coming down a front foot strike in that position. But notice how his arm, his hand is being raised extremely early, right? So we're having that hand raised right about, I would say, a little bit obtuse with the elbow there, and then one more frame, not even having full front foot contact, and then boom. So now we're at front foot strike. So you're going to notice that that hand, that arm is extremely high. It's up. We're missing out on that potential kinetic sequencing from the ground, and he's no longer able to delay that trunk rotation to create that separation from the hips. Okay, so the thing that I wanted to point out to him was that if we can increase some forward momentum in the initial move at the delivery, the body will respond, right? I talk about the body being super adaptable all the time. So if we can kind of just instill some momentum before we reach that leg lift, I think what would happen would be the body's going to organize itself. It's going to simplify that path that the arm takes, that the hand takes, and get into that more efficient kinetic sequencing. So you're going to see this breakdown of the early arm, could be argued that it's also causing this trail leg hip flexion, and then the head pull out to the side there. So looking at a guy like Hader here, who does a lot of things well, you're going to see before he reaches peak leg lift, he's instilling some forward momentum, right? So he's going down the mound. So now as he enters his drive phase, he's accelerating his body into that drive phase. Okay, so now him being a super good athlete, his body adapts. Okay, so we also see that he showcases the ability to handle this in his drive leg with the stability, right? He's able to handle that coming down from his peak leg lift. He's able to handle that force, accept that. Now he creates this separation, shows extremely good movement capacity and potential here within his hips. Now he's just accelerating, right? So this rate of acceleration going into this whole delivery now, he delays that hand, that arm swing. Now he's able to maximize that sequencing by getting that hand right before front foot strike. So this isn't even full front foot contact, but you're seeing that the whip of that arm at front foot strike coming through now all at once. And then he also showcases single leg stability and strength in the lead leg to be able to handle that, right? So that's a common breakdown we see with younger guys, man, is we always talk about, like, how can we throw harder? Well, forward momentum. Okay, I'm going to forward momentum and establish more forward momentum. Well, one breakdown could be that they don't have the authentic drive leg stability to be able to handle that added forward momentum coming down. Okay, then they could see that they don't have the body awareness like Hader does here to still control head posture, even though he was still moving forward. Then the biggest one of all probably coming from the acceleration and having to now stabilize essentially more energy, in this delivery on that lead leg. So his accelerated rate has produced more energy now that needs to be stabilized, in which he does extremely efficient. And then you see that late launch, extension, trail leg stays long. So that was, you know, the biggest kind of recommendation that I would have for Charlie here is like, hey dude, maybe if we increase the forward momentum, maybe that will help clean up that arm, right? And delay that arm. And then if we can delay that arm, we get put into a better positioning here at front foot strike, and then we'll be able to authentically stabilize, which will maybe in turn clean up that trail leg. So that's the coolest part about the delivery, man, is like maybe you take care of one thing in the initial move and then everything else downstream gets cleaned up. So we don't have to necessarily reinvent the wheel. We can just implement one little thing, and who knows, maybe that could be the thing. But at the end of the day, like, trial and error, right? So cool. Hopefully that video made sense and you could take something from it. But I'm pumped for Charlie to get progressive moving forward after I outlined a report for him. And yeah, cool guys. Till next time, we'll see ya.